Hey everybody, this is my cat, some call him Bongo. Anyway, this video is brought to you by the Server Store. This is a sponsored video. They graciously provided us with the server that my cat is playing with. This is a really cool server, and a lot of you might not know about it, but it's called a Fat Twin. And that's the actual product name. This particular one has two nodes, and they're completely separate from each other. And it's dual 1366 in each node, and it has 12 gig of, not 12 gig, 12 DIMM slots per node, so 6 per processor. Total of 4 sockets, dual power supplies, 12 hard drive bays, and it's all in a 2U form factor. And believe it or not, it only has 4 80mm fans, which we will talk about in a little bit. Anyway, they sent us this for review, and we can just give a short overview. And hopefully, we'll have maybe one or two other videos about doing the various software installations and playing with it. Maybe doing some game servers or
try some stuff out.
Yeah, just try some random stuff out with it, but. We all think it's really cool. I don't know that I have a position to integrate it into my rack right now, but I would love to. But if you're just starting out, it's a really good starting point. If you're looking to add some compute power, it's a good point to do that too. Have anything else to say before we crack it open?
I was going to say we should crack it open so they can see why it's actually a Fat Twin.
It's just a fun little thing.
Yeah, so there's only actually 2 screws. We already took them off, but there's 2 screws here. You just left the top panel off. So what do we have inside?
Go ahead.
Here's the 2 nodes, each one dual socket, 6 DIMMs for each socket on each side. There is a PCIe riser card that can fit 2 PCIe. They go in sideways.
Yeah, we'll pull out one of the nodes to show you the whole node, but they're 2 full-size PCI Express risers, which is pretty cool. And I don't know if you can hear it right now, but it's actually on. It's neither of the nodes are powered on, but it's plugged in, so the power supply is running a little bit.
I mean, and the thing is too, it's also got, you can see we already did the fan replacement on one side, but 2 80mm fans on each side and a fan wall. These come with a shroud over them to force the air through.
So really, one of those.
Yeah, I grabbed one of the shrouds, but it can force the air through, so it pulls the air in from the front or from the top through the vents in the lid, and we'll push it through to make sure that it's staying cool.
So it comes with these black plastic shrouds pre-installed. I don't think they're terribly necessary, especially for the lower end processor setups, but if you want to use them, you can, and if not, then you don't need to. But they just kind of sit over top of the processors.
A little like that.
Yeah, something like that. But they go all the way down in, and they do screw in, so they're kind of integral with each node.
Coming to check it out. But one of the things, I mean, they're independently powered, 6 bays on each side. SATA 2, no SAS, right?
SATA 2, I don't think it has SAS, although the backplane does say SAS, so I think that's going to be dependent on the nodes that you're using. These 2 in particular, they say SATA directly on it, so I'm going to say that these 2 that we have are SATA. But the backplane itself should be able to do SATA or SAS, provided you have the supporting hardware for it.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So, like Walt was saying, there's 12 bays in the front, and they're in stacks of 3, so you have 3, 3, 3, and 3. These 6 on this side are for this node, these 6 on this side are for this node. Each node has its own power button and reset button, and they can run off of 1 or 2 power supplies. This one in particular came with dual 1400 watt gold rated power supplies, so I think that's really awesome.
So yeah, I was going to say it's one of the things to notice about these type of cases is that it uses the proprietary form factor, so it's not something you can just slot into a normal case, or vice versa, buy a regular consumer power supply to slot in.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to use a standard ATX power supply, but Supermicro power supplies. They're available on eBay. They're super easy to get, or you can get them directly from the server store. And in their configurator for this particular node, you can, or not node, particular system, you can configure each node. So that means you can have different processors on each one, different RAM on each one. If you want a different power supply, you can do that.
Yeah, I think they have the super quiet option for power supplies.
Yeah, the super quiet would be really nice, but even this one I would say is really
Can
not.
barely hear it.
Can barely hear it. It's just a low little hum. The one thing we did was replace the fans, and you guys know that we love our Arctic fans. So we've gone ahead and replaced the fans on this side. We haven't replaced the fans on this side. So this guy is the stock fan. It's a Nidec Ultra Flow. I think it's a 38 millimeter wide, and then here's a standard Arctic 25 millimeter wide. Very, very easy to do. If you are not sure how to do it, just open it up and take a look and pull the fan out, and you'll see how it swaps. It's really, really easy.
Very simple.
If you're wondering why we did that, I'm going to give you a little bit of a noise comparison. So I'm going to turn on the quiet side first.
Do you want before and after, or after and before?
Before and after would be better.
Yeah, we'll do the loud side first. So this is the loud side.
The original.
Yeah, the original fans. Yeah, and so I don't know if you can hear me, but they do really move a lot of air. So if you're in a data center somewhere where the noise doesn't matter, you can keep the stock fans, but
Is there a CFM rating on those fans?
I don't know if they're rated.
It wasn't on the label, but I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure you can look it up. I'm sure they're well over 150. It's really way too much. It's way overkill for the processors we have in here.
Definitely.
What do you have in here?
The 5502s?
No, we have the
5520s?
5620.
Oh,
Yeah.
5620. I'm sorry, I was looking at the server store page, so I was looking at stock, whatever it came with.
So this particular config, the server store sent us E5620s in each socket, and then it was just a pretty basic RAM config, so not a whole lot. I think it was just
single stick of 4 gig for each CPU.
processor, yeah.
Okay.
But it's just enough to get us started, and we filled it out a little bit more. And then here's the other.
The after side.
Yes. So it basically sounds the same. And that sound that you heard when the fan kicked up, that's actually the power supply fan making a little bit more noise. I highly doubt that you'll be able to hear the Arctics. They're running at full speed. They're not even the PWM model. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to make it completely silent, go for the super quiet PSU. And then you can sleep next to this thing.
Yep, pretty much. I mean, it's the big thing is going to be changing out the fans in the front. You know, this power supply, the Supermicro power supplies always have a fan running, and just based on what gold, platinum, super quiet, whatever model you have, it'll kick up a little bit when it's active, but you're always going to have some kind of fan spinning, and you're just getting a better quality fan or a quieter fan or more efficient PSU as you go up the price range.
The super quiet PSUs are very, very heat efficient, so they barely put out any heat, and the fan just barely runs. So
yeah, in my system I've got the super quiet, and I hear more noise from the drives than anything else in the system. So,
but overall, though, as configured with just the Arctics, you think this is just a livable as it is? The power supply?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
If you had this in your room, and if you have a desk fan on, you're going to hear the desk fan, not the server. Right? I mean, as long as you've had the fan mod switch out, you know, you're not going to have any issues with it, I don't think.
So one of the things I really like about this is that you have individual control over two systems in one box, and as you've seen, we've been able to turn one on, one off, and pick which one we want to turn on or have both on. It doesn't really matter. But the cool thing is that they're even sectioned off within the unit itself, so you don't need to worry about airflow or anything like that. these fans are on, these fans are off, or they might be spinning just a little bit, but
They're just
It-
idle.
yeah, it manages it on its own, and you really don't need to worry about any of that. Anything else before we pull one of the nodes out? And
Well, one of the things that's nice about this too, I think you were mentioning, just with it being separate, is that you can actually kit out one whole side differently. Server Store lets you configure each side independently.
right,
So that would give you a chance if you wanted to have one side be heavier on compute. You could definitely build up the processors on one side and leave the other side for a lower end processor for just storage capabilities.
yeah, or even to the same extent, you can do high clock speed on one side and many core count on the other side, for example, and that's really possible even with the X8 systems. I know the Server Store has X9 fat twins.
Yep.
They also have X9 fat. Well, they're not really fat quads, but I call them fat quads. They're 4-node. I think they're 24 bay.
I believe so.
The
It's
4U?
just- It's a 4U, basically
Yeah, it's just a
double
4U version of this. And of course, that's going to run more expensive, but we're looking at base price around 129, I think,
this.
starting.
Yeah, that was base plus shipping, which we priced out a little bit. It was around $75 to $85, depending on where you live.
Yeah, I mean, if you live in Texas, it'd probably be even cheaper.
I'm sure,
Maybe
yeah.
$50, or you could even pick it up locally. But some people might be put off a little bit by the shipping cost, but realize that this is a pretty intense unit. I mean, the power supplies are heavy. There's a lot of metal with the heat sinks and things like that, and it's like basically a steel chassis. So
Even bare bones, you're getting 2 complete systems shipped for $200.
right,
PSU included, RAM.
and just don't even worry about the shipping cost. Just add it into the total and look at the total price. You're still getting a hell of a deal. And the best thing about the Server Store, I've done all kinds of used components through all different kinds of retailers and refurbers, and they have the best shipping. And the reason is because they have, I don't know, what kind of foam is that they use?
It's like a cellulose-based foam. It's a real industrial strength. What it does is it's a bag,
It's
and
like
they
they
inject
fill
it
it,
with
right?
foam, and then it's expanding foam within the bag. So
Right.
they'll sit there and lay a bunch of sheets of it around, and it'll fill up within those sheets. So then you're basically getting a custom packed
right.
box or
Yeah.
unit or whatever components you get from them. It's usually going to be wrapped up in that.
Yeah, nothing moves around in the box.
And when they actually sent us this unit, they sent us a couple other things too, and there were a lot of smaller components, and they sent us a motherboard, and I was kind of worried, not because of them, but just in general. I was like, how are they all going to fit this in one box? And this thing's pretty heavy. It's going to crush the motherboard or anything like that, and the way they pack is just perfect, so you really don't need to worry about that. They do ship internationally too. We've had a lot of users buy things from them internationally with the anniversary board, and they've had good experiences. So really just buy. This is an endorsement from them as a company, and just they're really awesome to work with. So don't hesitate.
Availability wise, we had some issues with some of our other boards in the past. What's the current count-ish on these? What did it say?
I believe it was around 40 plus that they had available of this with the X8 boards.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
We didn't check out the X9 models, but
I think they said they have quite a few of the X9s. These X8s, I think they have around 40. Yeah, but I mean, they're a steal for what you get.
Yeah, so quite a few, and then they've got all the processors and RAM and other stuff that you can add on to it as well.
Did you hear the PSU fan just kick down?
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. So the Supermicro PDU is pretty cool. It dynamically manages everything, and you don't need to worry about it. It's all very hands-off. So if you're running on a super low load, it'll get even quieter on its own. And these aren't even the super quiet PSUs, so it really can get very quiet. Let's turn this guy off, and I guess we'll just pull out one of the nodes. I'll grab the camera and pull it down, and we can get a little bit of a closer shot.
Okay.
Do you want us to reorient this towards you, or?
We can just turn it a little bit.
I'll just unplug the power first. Should mention when we pull it out that you can leave one running, power the other one off, and pull it out to work on.
Yeah.
We'll mention it now.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's still
alive.
running.
Yeah, it's
Still live. So we got the hot swap bays in
okay.
the front, and then this is also designed to live in a rack where if there is a possibility of any type of hardware failure or component failure, you can actually pull out each node individually. So why don't you go ahead and pull out this side that we've already done the fan mod on. So basically, it's got the 2 pull tabs on the back, and then it's got tabs at the bottom there that you can push in and then pull out the whole internal.
The front.
Yep, got it. So the whole board comes out, processors, the RAM, everything is there. Basically everything from the fan wall back is what's coming out. It's already locked into the tray, and you can see everything else there. So what did we add here to the back? We've got 1 extra expansion card that we filled in.
So we haven't actually played with this card yet. This is another thing the server store sent us to mess around with and try to get working with various OSs. This is a dual 40 gig fiber with dual gig E on the back, and I can see if I get a shot of that card. It's this guy here. So hopefully we can get that guy running.
And so what's our plan to mess around with that? We're going to try and do some networking between the 2 nodes? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, we actually have one of those cards in each node, and then if we can connect the nodes via 40 gig fiber, that would be really, really awesome if we could get that to work, and then we'll basically have a really strong interconnect between them.
Yep.
And we can potentially use the combined processing power to work on some things.
So both nodes run completely independently. They can be powered on and off separately. You can rack or re-rack the single node without affecting the entirety of the rack. So once you've mounted your Fat Twin, if you have a rack at home or it's mounted on a shelf, you won't actually have to move the chassis to change out things unless it's going to be your fan wall, basically, because the bays in the front here just will come right out the front with a sled for your drives.
Yeah, one thing we didn't mention was that they are hot swap, of course, in the front, and they will do 3.5-inch drives, but you can do 2.5 with an adapter, and like we said, SATA or SAS just depends. In this case, you can see this one is 6-port SATA.
Yep. So that's connecting up to the bay up here, the back plane for everything.
Anything else on the back? Oh, we didn't really talk about the back. Could you lift up one of these guys? No. You want to give us an overview of what's on the back?
Yeah, so what we've got on the back, you can see the back of that Chelsea IO card. We've got VGA out so you can see what's going on. We've got a serial cable there. I'm not sure if that's an actual console port or not. It looks like it might be because it does have a MAC address on there. That might be for the Ethernet though, but dual Ethernet, IPMI, and then 2 USB 2 slots here.
Yeah.
You can see a little bit better.
Yeah, you can bend these tabs. They're not going to break or anything. They just move.
Yep, and so one of the nice things too with this is that the servers do include actually the MAC address for the cards that are in there. So if you're working on doing static reservations before you power things on.
This is the IPMI MAC address, and then these two are these 2 gigabit Ethernet MAC addresses.
Yeah, so it lets you gives you a chance to do some pre-configuration if you have a lockdown network. So pretty nice there. One of the features here, there's actually a little cage that's just clamping down these PCI riser cards, so that once you take that screw out, the whole cage will slide out. It'll let you access those cards. And it does have a half port here, or a half size slot, but we don't know what that one's for. It might be for a different expansion.
You would have to get a different riser or a different node board.
So for one of the others, the X9 might be using that.
This metal cage that everything's mounted to is a standard,
Supermicro.
It's a standard, I don't even know what it's called, like a node chassis.
Mm-hmm.
So you can change out the board if you really wanted to.
Right. But in this case, I mean, basically everything on the board is what we would be changed out. You'd want to order the board ahead of time.
And for the most part, if you want to order a new node, you can just order an entire new node as configured like this from eBay or from the server store. And the other thing is you can run X9 nodes too. Mm-hmm. You don't have to run the X8 nodes. If you decide to upgrade, pull a node out.
Yep, you could pull one out, swap it, and it would be completely independent. The only thing that it's sharing with the other side would be that power. So that power distribution unit, for all intents and purposes, are on this side. It's completely separate. And it's just providing the power.
Dual or even single 1400 watt, it's going to be plenty for any kind of node you want to put in there with whatever processor.
You could have all 6 bays filled in. You could have the entire processors all filled in, all the RAM slots. You're still not going to run it into any issues with that.
Yeah. Let me remount this guy real quick.
There we go.
Well, hopefully that was a little bit enlightening. I know as we dive more into the server realm, the true server realm, we've been doing white box stuff a lot lately, and pretty much all of the guides have been white box stuff, but I would say as we dive more into the actual server realm, it can get a little intimidating, and until you get your hands on it or see someone talk about it, it's kind of hard to know what's going on, and you can only read so many spec sheets before you kind of like
your eyes glaze
burnt
over.
out.
Yeah. So hopefully this was a little bit revealing as to how these sort of things work. I don't think this will be our last video on this. I mean, we've got to be doing a lot more tinkering and things like that. But if you have any questions about the Fat Twin or services the Server Store offers, you can shoot us a message on Discord. We're not affiliated with them exactly. They did sponsor us in this video, so we're very thankful for them for that.
For sure.
And shoot them an email if you have any questions. Their support is fantastic. They have a great team there, and we've really enjoyed working with them. So, anything else to tie it up for?
No, I'm looking forward to getting more hands-on with it once we get it up and running, or get stuff installed on it and see what we can really pull.
It's been fun because they sent us this, and then 15 seconds after getting it, we've already put our own spin on it. We've already replaced the fans and
loaded up the RAM.
Yeah, loaded up the RAM.
40 gig.
Right. So, yeah, it's cool. So, again, if you have any questions, Discord. I can use Twitter, so you can tweet me if you want. You can do that, or Instagram. We've been doing a lot more on Instagram lately, especially with LandJam and
Reddit.
Oh, Reddit. Yeah, of course, Reddit. So
that one.
hopefully we'll have news about the website and potentially a forum coming soon. So look for that. And
thank you, Server Store.
yep,
Yeah,
thanks
thank
to the
you.
Server Store, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
See ya.